Ooh, we're live, baby.
We're live.
Live. Awesome. Oh, oh Jason. This is like I'm waiting for YouTube royalty to walk out. Jason, nothing could be farther from the truth.
Oh my God, I appreciate it.
That is
Yes.
amazing.
Oh wait, it's not about me. Okay, sorry.
Awesome. Well, if you're joining us, this is a very impromptu live stream that will end up on the Cheap Plug Vinyl Community Podcasts mañana. But we figured, hey, we're going to record this. Why not just push it out? Maybe we get some stragglers come in and give us their thoughts. But for all intents and purposes, Concert Buddy, I'm joined by my friends Vinyl Reckoning, Matt and Stacy.
I'm breaking it. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I was trying to share it to get some people in here, and my volume was up. Remember we were talking about the thing?
Straight to the Shadow Realm.
We were there.
What's
And
up,
then we got Dylan, the record spinner, joining us. Appreciate the time.
Hello.
Awesome. All right. We got Trevor. I don't know Trevor. Trevor's Flat, Round, and Spun Vinyl Community. Hey, guys. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. So, topic du jour, topic of the week, safe to say, the Record Store Day 2023 April list dropped. And I don't know about you guys. We'll find out here shortly. But I was pleasantly surprised. I've been kind of, wouldn't say poo-pooing the last couple lists, but I've just been kind of like meh when it comes to the last couple lists. There's been some okay stuff, but it's just been kind of meh. And then, of course, I'm sure you can relate. I've gone to the shops, and it was a little bit more than meh. I decided, hey, I'm here, and some FOMO and excitement and why nots and all that kind of stuff. But this year's list, I really felt was pretty strong. What did you guys think? Dylan, what did you think? We'll kick it off.
I would say overall, this year's list is a bit more, I want to say niche, but I say that in the most nicest sense possible. The way I see it every year based on the power of the list, there is always something that I'm going to go after. I can always bank on yes, there's going to be a Doors thing. There'll be a Ramones thing and whatever else. I mean, this isn't, I think, the first time that I didn't see a Bowie or a Floyd release. Because lately there have been a number of different things from those camps come out for Record Store Day, which, to be honest, I think that's totally fine just because the Bowie camp is already generating enough product on the mainstream fronts anyways. So what's the point of just, pushing out something in a different avenue? But overall, I was like, you know what? Maybe the fact, personally myself, I wrote out a small list of the stuff that I'm after. There's a lot of curious things, but there's only a small handful of I definitely must have this type of thing. So eases the wallet a little bit. But like I said, every year there's something for me.
Sure. Matt, Stacy, what did you guys think? First impressions.
My first impressions was so me personally, I've been to most Record Store Days. The first one I stumbled upon and didn't know it was a thing. But I would say this is the first year and probably the last 7 where I didn't feel like there was filler. Weird stuff that no one asked for. Do you know what I mean? Although
Sure.
A lot of it this year isn't within my realm of things that I need to have, I didn't feel, aside from that, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a Macho Man Randy.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that, but yeah.
That's not my jam. But there wasn't weird stuff that was who's asking for this? Who wants this? There was weirdly, I've been trying to get into jazz, and I see a ton of jazz comps
Always.
that I'm sort of excited about, but it's very likely those won't sell as fast as they are. But yeah, I mean, I just saw Pearl Jam, right? I'm excited about that. Weirdly, because my 17-year-old self and the pop punk brain, the Wonder Years, their live album, I think that band is way more prolific than people give them credit for because they're lumped into that genre. Again, the jazz dispensary stuff,
Sure.
That one excites me. But as a whole, I'm not freaking out. I'm not oh my God, I need this. But I'm this is what it used to be.
Sure.
And
that is true.
And I like that niche. Like I like that. Like there's a little something for everybody. So are we going to camp out like we did last year?
It was last year, yeah.
No,
Probably not.
because there's going to be leftovers or represses for the stuff we want. It doesn't feel like I need something at this very moment, but it's a good list. It is a good list overall.
Yeah.
Stacey, what do you think? Same kind of sentiment?
Kind of. I was a little underwhelmed, but I think last year there was a good number of ones that I wanted a lot, and so
You're comparing.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm comparing because I mean last year was the first time in a long time I did it, like, you know, before COVID and stuff. So like,
Can't say that word.
Sorry, before the C word. But anyway, but yeah, I think it was I think I was just comparing. So, but I am excited about the jazz. Like he said, I feel like it's an opportunity to find things that you don't normally get, you know, like to expand your horizon, I guess to say.
Sure. Well, Jazz Bums Mike kind of hits on it here. He says, my top pick for RSD is the Walter Bishop Jr., followed by that Eric Dolphy. So this is actually a kind of a great segue into something I want to ask you guys, because Matt, you said it earlier, getting into jazz. So like 2 years ago, I was getting into jazz as well, right? And it can be very dangerous because once you start pulling on those fibers, those strings of the sweater, you're going down the Miles Davis catalog. You know,
exactly.
Maybe it's like, this is my journey. I started at Miles Davis, certain artists I had heard about. And the next thing you know, you're learning about Lee Morgan, you're learning about the Coltrane, the sax guys, all that stuff. And it can get priced like anything else, right? Once you're learning something new, you're excited, and somebody gives you a recommendation of, hey, have you heard this? Or have you heard Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers? So do you find your guys in that kind of a similar position getting into jazz, or are you very still like,
For me, it's more like there's so much that I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So it's like so overwhelming. There's so many different like artists. You can find like the new ones and the old ones. There's like just a ton. Like you can find them in the dollar bins. Like it's just so easy to find. So there's so much. It's like, who do you start with? And then it's like, oh, start with the classics. But like there's so many of those too. So it's like, okay, it's like, so how many to start with?
I got a jazz guy. So I got a dude that I work with that was very much in the same boat as me, where like he was into like in high school and college was very much into like the heavy stuff or like the sad emo stuff. He's like, I'll never listen to that stuff. And now he's like super involved in that genre. And I was like, I need 2 albums. I'm going to 2 record stores in a faraway land this weekend. I need 2 albums that I need to find. And he gave me 2 albums and I listened to them. I was like, yep. I'm not going to tell you what they are because there's 2 videos coming out, but I fell in love with one of them.
That's what we call a deep tease, folks. That's this YouTube thing. You got to have the deep tease.
We got 2 videos coming out from our trip, but I fell in love with one of them. And I texted him and I was like, this is my lane. Like, this is what it is. Cause it's weird, but also somewhat accessible.
Okay.
And oddly enough, it was on what we effectively call the holy shit wall, you know, that every record store has.
Yep.
And I looked it up and I was like, I don't know anything about jazz. Is that a good price? And I looked it up and of course used Discogs to look it up. And it was about half the price of what it was going for in Discogs. He's like, that one's been up there for a while. So in my brain, I'm like, you haven't updated. So I grabbed it and I found one of the 2 albums in the giant world of jazz that he recommended and I fell in love with. So apparently it's a super rare pressing. What's up? I'm a record collector.
Well, Mazzy makes a good point, and I think this is true, at least for my jazz journey. If you're newish to jazz, RSD is not the place to start. And I think that's probably very appropriate. Dylan, what about you? I know you work in a record store, right? I don't want to speak. Has that influenced you to try jazz? Do you already listen to jazz? Where do you land on the jazz spectrum?
I will say, so the record store that I work at is located within a mall. So we are already kind of subjecting ourselves to a certain clientele. but we will occasionally have the guy that will spend 4 figures on Blue Note and Verve titles that have been sitting there forever. For myself, my jazz journey, it's not like a go-to genre that I go to a lot, but the thing is, I'm a big progressive rock fan, and a lot of the bands that came out around that time have a jazz influence. Like I do have like Kind of Blue, I have Bitches Brew. I'm actually gonna, I always say I'm gonna do a video talking about my jazz journey,
Sure.
but I will say one album that I absolutely loved upon first listen was Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch, because when I listen to that, and I'm a King Crimson fan too. I listen to those first 2 records, I'm just like, okay, I see what they're doing, and it's literally the exact same thing, and I'm just like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, because that Dolphy title, it's funny you said that, Mazzy. My boss, which before he was my boss, he was just a guy I worked with. But when he became my boss, it's like, oh no, you have a new boss. What are you going to bond over? Well, somebody told him I'm like in the records, and it was like the Great Unlock, and he's like a big jazz head. So once he heard that, and he's like, well, "What do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, I like Lee Morgan. I'm very, basic, right? Basic bitch stuff." And he just got, it was like an unlock. He just like got so excited. He was like, "Oh man, you've got to do this." And then the RSD list came out, and he's like, "Are you getting this, this, and this?" And I was like, "Yo, you got to pump the brakes." The wallet is only so big, right? So
yeah.
oh, that's so funny. Cool. Well, said this before, but kind of run of shows. We're just kind of go around home, and I sent out the link if anybody else wants to pop on. This is a marketplace of ideas. I'll send it out again if anybody wants to join. Just going to talk about the list. I thought, for the sake of being consistent, I thought maybe like what's the 3 titles that you're like excited about or super interested, and then maybe like one off the wall title. And spoiler alert, it's not the Macho Man one for me. I actually already have that. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to. Yeah, it actually came out like 2 months ago. Like I'm assuming private press, and like those weird wrestling titles are always bootlegs, but this was, I think, as official as it's going to get for the state of Randy Savage. And they went, I saw it on one of the Reddit boards. It went like that, and then came back out, in, out. So I got a copy. I got one for my son. It made my son's whole year because he's kind of getting into records, and he already likes wrestling and all that kind of stuff. Now, is the music high quality? I mean, it's a 50-year-old professional wrestler rapping. And I'll just kind of let you figure it that. So
That's so good.
Can I be honest with you? If it was Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band, maybe I'd be into it.
if he's slapping the bass, if he's slapping that main bass, then 1,000,000%. Yes,
of course.
That's funny.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, let's start with you. So we'll just go maybe one title at a time. We'll just kind of keep it easy. But what's that number 1 draft pick? Let's use a sports axiom. What's the number 1 draft pick for you?
All right, so dead giveaway. My shirt ties into it. It's the Eric Carr Rockology release. So Eric Carr, for those that are not Kiss fans or don't know, Eric Carr was the second drummer in Kiss. He was the Fox persona after Peter Criss had left. And he had recorded a bunch of demos throughout the 80s. He passed away in 91. It came out on CD back in like 2000, and Bruce Kulick, who was a Kiss guitarist in the 80s going into the early 90s, played on them. He mixed the album, I believe. Now, this got a vinyl press a couple of years ago by a label called The Rockologists, and crazy enough, I was looking at Discogs today. It last sold for like $150. Like, it's gone. But this version, it's expanded to have a second LP of other tracks. And the fact that the cover looks identical to the 4 solo albums that came out in 78. It's such a nice, like, I got excited seeing it. And then, like, I saw it's on splatter vinyl. The makeup's on
it's
the
all the
label.
bells and whistles. It's gotcha.
There's the poster that's going to be similar. I'm just like, sweet. All right. So it's worth having a second copy. So that's the number 1.
Awesome. So I'm picturing, because I haven't looked at it, the way you described it's very exciting, 1. But 2, I'm picturing, so is it, you said it was kind of a mimic or an appreciation of the solo covers. So is it him as the Fox? Just like
yes.
Okay. And then of course splatter vinyl. That is always,
of course. Now,
right?
Fun fact, and I don't know if they're actually using this, but Eric did say once in an interview that he got a portrait made up of himself in makeup by the same artist who did the 4 solo album covers. don't know if there was a loophole in like Casablanca's contract that he would maybe one day do a solo record similar to that. Obviously, it never really happened, but
Sure.
When it comes out and I see the credits and I see who did the artwork, that'll confirm it.
Man, see, I had no idea. I knew the name. Here's an old, right? I saw the name. I knew he was from Kiss. I thought I'm really going to sound terrible. I thought he was the guy who replaced Ace. So don't hate me.
He's got the shirt, man.
I know, shows what I know, but it did strike out as I was going through my first impression thing. I was like, oh, that's got to appeal to people who are like the deep Kiss Army type.
For
folks.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Matt, Stacy, what was the number one draft pick? What were you guys thinking?
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna go with, and I'm sure if anybody's listening to me right now, they're just gonna poop all over me. I'm gonna go to my pop punk roots. I think the Wonder Years Burst and Decay is there. It's a live session. That band is one that started out with like the girls don't like me, so I'm sad about it, and then like grew with their audience, and now they're like, I'm growing up, I have a family, and guess what, mental illness is still a thing when you have a family, and
Sure.
and realistically, like, they just write good songs, and it's weird, you can play power chords, and I'm 35 years old, you can play a power chord, but if you're writing killer lyrics on top of it, in stuff that I can relate to, like, that is what I'm here for. Like, something that's like, hey, I'm doing everything right, and for some reason, like, life still just kind of takes a shit on you, and you're like, yeah, it does, and that's what the Wonder Years is for me. In college, they wrote 2 really important albums that I still listen to with a different outlook. But
Sure.
they just released probably one of my favorite albums of last year. And that band live is phenomenal, and to have any recording of them live. So I'm going to go with the Wonder Years Burst and Decay. That's kind of my number one.
Okay.
Cool.
Stacey, what about you?
Mine, I was just like looking because there was a few.
You're asking her to make a decision right
and that's
now?
Sorry. I should level set. I did not give homework for this. This was all
That's
just kind of
all
like fly by the cuff. I said, hey, can you guys come up? Cool. Let's see what happens.
We'll be there. Yeah. It was one of the various ones, the various artists, this page. I think the 50 Years of TV's Greatest Hits one. I feel like I love a good greatest hits like album, just because
she just wants the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah,
she just loves the Bear BNL.
But I mean, come on, there's gonna be some bangers on there, like just some really good songs.
If it's not Family Matters, I don't care.
Whatever.
No.
Either way, it's gonna be great. So I'm excited about that one.
It was a good show.
But I'm just saying, Carl Winslow for president. Yeah, I love Carl Winslow. Yeah.
I had a cat in college named Carl Otis Winslow, and the only reason, and the only reason I named him that is so when I brought him to the vet, they would yell, Carl Otis Winslow, and I'd be like, that's us. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
Cool.
But what's cool though is I think already that kind of speaks to, and I don't want to give the Record Store Day organizers too much credit, but having such a kind of a diverse mix, because sometimes I'm sure you guys have seen the list before, and it's like we even said this earlier. Well, why did they even think about putting this on another Cure picture disc or whatever? And it's a head scratcher. But there's, to their credit, there are people who are out there now. Some of the things that they kind of take wild swings on will still be there a month, 6 months, years. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've seen a lot of old RSD stuff in your shop too. But at least I'll give them credit for like having a wide expanse, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So my number one draft pick, since we're going around the horn, is the Van Halen 4 LP right here, right now. Not because it's my favorite Van Halen record, not because it's a live album, not because I'm Diamond Dave, which I am, versus Sammy, but I think, and my eternal hope is that this is a gateway to the rest of the Van Hagar catalog coming out. And
it better.
So here's my working hypothesis, and I've talked to Billy Hurst about this too. We share this theory. there's some really high quality bootlegs coming out, particularly from like Italy and so forth right now. And this was one of them about a year ago, 18 months ago. And I've noticed a couple of records like the Creed, My Own Prison was one in the fall that about a year, 18 months ago, there was a bootleg, high quality bootleg, and then an official release.
Yep.
Now we're seeing it here. Billy named a couple others when I talked to him. So my hope is that this is the tip of the spear to get some of those Van Halen records, Van Hagar records that are super hard to find. Some of them, like I think Van Halen 3 has never been on vinyl, the one with the guy from Extreme. But and it's an RSD, exclusive. Sometimes that means something. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they'll press it a year later. But I haven't looked at any price points on this stuff, but I can only assume it's 4 LPs, long sought after. I think this is it's going to be a lot of the cheddars. But at least seeing it on the list made me feel like this could be the beginning of finally the Van Hagar stuff coming out. So Dylan, I see you nodding a lot. Do you think
as it should? I mean, look, I'm a Diamond Dave guy, but look, there's more to the story beyond 1984.
This is true. Now, Gary Sharon fans, I'm sure there's some out there. Not a bad album. Van Halen 3. I've got Extreme, Porno Graffiti. I've got all that stuff. However, it's Diamond Dave or Sammy, and I don't know. So that got me super excited. I probably nerded out a little bit because literally I went through the list and to be honest, and maybe you guys feel the same way, I didn't see it at first. I was just kind of like doom,
just kind of glanced over.
Yeah, and then I kind of made that second pass, and I was like, no way. And so I got real excited.
Yeah. I'm honestly really glad I never picked up the unofficial copy that's been like out in the circles as of lately, because like that always pisses me off. Like I'll get a boot of something, and then like you said, like 18 months later, it's like, all right, that's deserved.
Here he is, number 4. How's it going, Jay?
Hey, sorry I'm a little late. Work got in the way. So how's everyone doing?
That pesky, quit the job. Professional YouTuber. That's what we're doing. That's why we got together. We're just all quitting today, right now.
Right here.
You look at my name, it's RSD Hater.
Uh-oh. Are we going to call you the Salt Man? Are you the Mortons to this? We're having a very positive conversation, Jason. Are we bringing you back?
Yeah, we'll see, Like the funny thing is like I won't be around for RSD Day. I'll be in Den Bosch, which is the big record show in the Netherlands. So I didn't time it right, so I forgot. Like I was like, but the good thing is I asked a few friends to pick up a few things for me. But did you guys already talk about which ones you think is going to be hot or not?
No, but actually, no, we were just going around. So I thought just for the sake of consistency, 3 titles you're super excited about, like those are the ones that stuck out, and then one maybe a wild card. But along those lines, maybe that is like your choices or the things that popped out to you. Do you think are going to be the big? I mean, obviously, it goes without saying the Taylor Swift record is going to be the one that brings the masses out, and so it's kind of understated, overstated. But last year for Record Store Day, I was in South Carolina. I was at Monster Music, and it was. Again, first time RSD out of state, so new experience there. Also, the Taylor Swift 7-inch was available. Whole new clientele, and more power to them. So it was different, and I expect this. From what I'm told by the Swifties in my life, who will remain nameless, this is an even more coveted title. So I can only.
I don't even care. I love Taylor Swift.
No. Like I had the 45, so I was lucky.
Oh wow!
So for all the boomer scalpers out there, let me stop the camera and let me go get it so then I can show it off. You are recording this, right?
I'm recording this. Yeah, I'm recording.
So for all like the people like Wax, the boomer scalper, let's bring him down. Let me get the single. So give me a second.
Sell it for $4 on Discogs, and then we'll just watch the price.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I mean there was. Gosh, I would say it was about 40% young ladies who I don't want to say were Swifties, but when they were bringing out the Taylor Swift tapestries, they were keeping warm outside, and I was like, wow, this is.
It's crazy. I will say, since we're bringing up the whole Taylor Swift thing, like I truly hope that the powers that be, like her label, whatever, got the quantity right for this release, because I don't know who posted it, but like basically said that the 7-inch single for the Lakes was so limited that there were some stores that didn't get any,
Yep.
which is understandable. Now, where I work at, we have 2 other locations in Pennsylvania. I'm located in South Jersey, so I work there. We got the most copies out of all the stores, and I had placed like emergency orders like days prior to Record Store Day that we were able to get in. We had maybe like a little less than 10 copies sold out in 2 minutes.
How did you guys handle that? Because I know some shops did raffles. Some shops handle it differently.
Basically, so it's funny because I always open on Record Store Day mornings. Like I get there, I'm like, all right, who's here for the obvious? And of course, everyone raises their hand like in the front. And I'm like, all right, guys, this is how this is going to go. Like I conduct the line. I'm like, you're going to go around this fixture. All the releases are going to be laid out. I said, the 7-inch is going to be right by the register, like where all like the other like CDs and cassette releases are. Everyone in the order that you're lined up in, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And that's it. And some people, they come in 2 hours later. You guys got the Taylor Swift 7-inch? I'm like, gone in 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting phone calls to this day at the shop going, are you guys getting the folklore Long Pond sessions? I'm like, give us a call the week of. We'll let you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just get hurt here, right?
Oh,
So
there you
let's-
go. That's cool.
them.
All right, so if you're listening on the podcast, this is Jason with the mega flex. Macho Man's got nothing on this flex.
And
Right.
then let's flex harder. Let's flex harder. The previous
Oh,
one.
now I've got that one, big man.
Oh,
I've got that one, big man.
I'm
I hear
shocked
you.
that goes for money. Jeez.
Yes, let's flex it here, right? Let's not. When Chance invited me, I was like, let's flex here, right? We gotta.
Yeah, rightfully
Jason's
so.
wearing the tight black T-shirt, like he's ready. He's ready to show you.
Right.
Go. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So Jason, what was your, let's call it for the sports axiom, your number one draft pick? I know you said obviously you're going to the Den Bosch. You've got somebody looking out for you. I've even told you if I can help you out, I'm happy to. What was that one thing that you're like, above all else, I gotta get this one. This one is super awesome.
The one I think, probably the Chet Baker. Like, if I were you and you are like you have that flipper, the flipper urge, the Chet Baker, the Taylor Swift, definitely you need to get those, right? Before those old VC members, because you'll see them, they're old VC creeps. They're waiting for Taylor. Hey, I'm just going to be honest here. You've seen a guy like, what is that guy in his like late 50s, 60s buying that Taylor Swift record? Is he really going to listen? Is he really into folklore? Like, the thing is, go ask them what their favorite song of folklore is.
Right.
And you'll see what happens, like, sort of embarrassment. But when you ask the question, say it loud, right?
Yes.
The focus will be on them. Right?
We don't want anybody getting their limbs ripped off because the Swifties made like it may be like a vulture if we out these flippers. But it's interesting you say that because I found, at least last year, it was the opposite, that there were so many people, particularly young ladies, who were there just for the Taylor Swift. Like I saw them, it was either there or it wasn't, and then they left. So it was a very interesting mix because you would think parents or whoever brought you there, they would want a record. No, it was either you have it or you don't, and then it was ghost time.
That was it.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. You saw the same thing, Dylan?
A little bit. It was half and half. Like the people that like showed up for it, if we didn't have it, some left or some actually stuck around, shopped around, because aside from like the Record Store Day releases that we sell on the day of, like people will like after they get their releases, they'll walk around the store for another half hour and drop another stack. Like that's the cool thing about it. And that embraces, I think, the true intention of Record Store Day. Yeah, of just simply supporting, not just for the exclusives, which I understand if that's the case and that's what you're after, that's understandable. But the fact that people will spend money just because of the principle of the day, that's what really hones in.
Yeah.
How do you guys, Mazzy's got to go in. So my local hands out the list and we choose and they pull records in order. So
I love that idea.
That's a great idea. I think Amoeba does something similar. Like they have it very organized. Why this hasn't been adopted more? Because like I said, out of state last year, it was a whole different process than I was used to locally. So I know everyone, how do you guys do it, Dylan? Do you do similar or do you just first one there kind of thing?
So basically, we always, like I said, we always get the calls asking, do you guys have this? How many do you have this? Also, I have to say, 15 years into Record Store Day, and I get people asking me, can I put down a deposit? Like, can you put aside? I'm like, guy, come on. I mean, for the most part, like I just tell them, I'm like, all right, everything's laid out alphabetical. All the 7 inches are up towards the front, blah, blah, blah. Like if we have a specific layout, I will tell it to the people that are lined up. And then it's just a matter of, the gate goes up and it's every man for themselves.
Right.
And I think that's okay too. I know this kind of is contradictory to some things I say sometimes, but if you're there and you've put in the hours, like the overnight people, like the people who literally lined up, like at my local, it's this group of 7 or 8 oldies, probably some flippers, Jason, to your point, but they literally, they camp out. It's like a community building thing for them. And then it's painful to watch them because their stacks are, ridiculous, but they also put in the dues and they were camping and they were probably, peeing in a Coke bottle. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't, on one hand, I'm shake my fist. On the other hand, I'm like, I could have got here an hour before them too, but that's just not my bag. I don't really believe in camping out for records. That's kind of again, talking about the spirit of Record Store Day. I don't really think that was what the founders intended was, camping out at 4:00 the previous afternoon, which is, I think I saw happen at Noble Records last year. And he didn't even have any exclusives. There was like people lining up. He just had a lot of heat he was dropping.
Yeah.
But
we for the first time in her life ever, I think, actually camped out.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time before where I showed up like a few hours.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a 4 a.m. thing. It was maybe I showed up at like 8, like maybe an hour before they opened. But like we went and waited from 4 a.m, brought chairs and blankets. It was dark.
It was,
yeah, it was cool. It was.
I was
really
getting
fun.
up in an hour anyway.
But I was,
but
I was gonna say the way they did it was really neat. They pretty much just let everybody in, and like it was kind of like
it was a line.
like a snake line. And
then the records were just in the bins in the front, and you would just pick it up and move.
It was perfect,
and it was great. It went so smoothly. And then they had like, if you spent $100, they had big giant boxes of like mystery records or whatever. Some of them had box sets in it, and some
it was
of them,
shit they couldn't.
They were it was. We were hoping you'd do a box set, but we ended up just getting like 50 records that were probably in their free dollar bin.
Yeah, but it was cool, man. Like,
but at Zia's though, I'm sorry, can I mention though before I lose it, because I'll forget, at Zia's, because I've done maybe 3 or 4 Zia's Record Store Days, and they just like have it set up on tables and they just let everybody in. And it's wild.
It's funny you said that. That's so Monster, and I love Monster. I order from them on the line. They're very good distribution, great packaging. This is not a cheap plug, but they do a good job. But they did some of that too, and that's why I highlighted Vinyl Mine. Vinyl Mine says one of my local scatters their RSD stuff throughout the store. It totally blows. After camping out for hours, it's still a complete crapshoot. So unfair. So I found Monster, despite being organized, like literally they had people line up around the building. I saw the Swifties with the tapestries, all that stuff. But as soon as the doors opened, it was like chaos. It was like Black Friday. And there was no one pointing saying, go here. It was, here's a table. That's why I thought that, Stacey, because they had a table of the releases. They had bins of the releases. And it was, I thought I thought somebody was going to get hurt. But fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. I think I didn't have enough donuts that day or whatever it was. But
Chance, like I picked up a Jonathan Richman or one of the Steely Dan RSDs, and one guy was just like, oh man, I really missed it. But he said it in a voice very dramatic. And I looked at him and I said out loud, are you going to cry if I buy this? Do you really want it? And everyone like looked at us. And then he kind of like, sheepishly, no, I'm okay, bro. I'm okay. I'm like, you better be, I'm holding the record like it was like the last thing on earth. Are you sure? Are you sure? Again, are you sure? Are you sure?
The parking lot?
Okay.
Man, that's awesome. All right, Dylan, let's go let's do our own snake. So round 2. So what was that next title? The Eric Carr was your number 1. What's your number 2 that you're passionate about?
Number 2. So this was actually a title that I was aware of coming out before the list dropped. There was a couple of leaks that had come out like the day prior, and I like zoomed in and I freaked out when I saw it. And it's the Donnas, the early singles.
Okay.
Great all-female band. It's literally like the best way to describe the Donnas. It's like the Ramones, the Runaways, Kiss, Motley Crue, like mixed together sound-wise, and it's just phenomenal. Their stuff on vinyl is so hard to find.
Yes.
I've come close to dropping 82 three figures on OGs just to get them. But this compilation that's coming out, it's all their early singles when they were on the Lookout label. I think it covers like very beginning up until like first or second album. The B-side has a bunch of covers on there. They actually cover a couple of Kiss tunes. And then upon going on the Record Store Day website, the label that's putting that out is going to be reissuing the first 4 albums. And I am so stoked for that. So when I saw that, I was like, I can die happily now. So that's number 2 for me.
No, I'd love that. Was it Take It Off? Isn't that their signature song?
Yes, that was, when they signed to Atlantic, that was the big one. And then there was also Fall Behind Me. That was on the follow-up record after that. And then they just they did one more album just on their own, and then they just kind of fizzled out. And actually, fun fact, if you guys watch that 70s show spinoff, that 90s show, Brett Anderson, the vocalist, sings the theme song.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Dropping that 411. I love it. Yeah. Let's do it. All right. Round 2. Matt, Stacy, let's go.
Mine is the Our Lady piece record, the 94 to 2000.
2-disc, yeah.
I love that band. Like that's it. Like everything they've done has just appealed to me as you know. There's like, again, it's one of those things. Am I gonna line up for it? No.
Right.
It's just not a thing because it will exist after the fact. If they never repress it, it'll go up in value, and then in 6 months it'll go down.
Sure.
It's not one of those things. So yeah, the Our Lady piece 2 LP will be a must-have for me eventually.
Stacey, you got number 2?
I do.
Right.
The Pearl Jam Giveaway.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel that's I kind of grew up listening. You know, I have an older brother, so that's kind of like a real nostalgic band for me. So
awesome. Love them. Yeah. That was one that I think the night before there was that little kind of trickle. Probably Dylan, you saw this too, of what the list maybe it was incomplete.
Yeah.
But that one was on there, and yeah, I was pretty excited about that because I did my little, Google research, and I guess that was a Best Buy live exclusive, only on CD. It's right around the Yield era, so I'm not a mega jammer. I love Pearl Jam. I've got posters hanging, in my rec room and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's one that was, I would say, probably, it was definitely on my top 3. I'm excited of that. Jason, what else piqued your interest? I know you're in RSD hater mode, but there are surely some other titles that you're like, if I can catch it online, maybe. What's going on?
Sure, I don't want to give all of it away, but I think just kidding. I'll be honest. This is the second choice or the third choice?
Second choice.
Okay, so I chose the Chet, right? So the second one I would choose is that Dolly Parton, the Monument singles, because there's 2 singles on there that are hard to get. They were released on a 45, and that's where she's like singing in a very pop soul like format. Now those singles go for like $200-$300. This is now your chance to get them in a comp. So I would recommend getting that comp because you're never going to get those singles. It's going
Jason, you're just costing me $50. Thanks.
And then reselling those comps.
Are you familiar with those songs though? When she was
No.
She was like young and trying to do different genres other than the country format that she's known for today. Right?
Okay.
So I think who wrote these songs was Ray Stevens. And if you know Ray Stevens, he was that country singer, also like comedy writer guy.
Right. Jokester.
He produced those singles, I think, and those things are awesome. So
time period in her career, I mean, she'd obviously left working with Porter. But is it after Jolene?
It was way before that. So I am thinking those singles are probably 63, 64.
Wow, so really, really early stuff.
Yes,
okay.
When she was trying to do different things to see which songs would hit, in the pop charts or the country. Again, still trying to find her,
Her voice, real. I mean, figuratively, literally, right? Man, well, that's cool. And then, so my number 2 is the Pearl Jam.
Oh.
Since Stacy already had it, so already knocked it out.
Cheater.
well, it was bound to happen. Obviously, good taste. Stacy's got great taste. So,
Thanks.
all right. So round 3. So this will be the last round, and then we'll get into that weird one that, if it's there, it's kind of like, I'm there, you're there. Let's try it out. So Dylan, what's your number 3? What's the coveted number 3 position for you?
Number 3 is the Ramones' Pleasant Dreams, the New York mixes. I just have to say, Rhino and the powers that be are finally giving respect to the Ramones catalog post end of the century.
Sure.
Last year, there was the big box set of all the 80s albums
That's
together.
right.
Now, from what I understand, this is like an alternate version of the album that kind of takes away some of like the shimmer and shine off of the production value of the record. Because Pleasant Dreams is one of the more glitzy, polished sounding Ramones albums. And there's a couple of tracks that appear on there that did not appear on the original album, some of which have been out in demo form. Some are in the bootleg circles. And the album cover that they used is the original cover before they changed it to like the guy in like the top hat and the jacket on the front. I'm excited for that. Like I said earlier in the live stream, there's always a Ramones release for every record store day, and I always snag those up. Just for me, it's Ramones or bust when it comes to punk, personally.
Perfect. So I'm going to probably steal some of your thunder. So I'm assuming you picked up that box set from last year.
Of course.
and how do you feel they did? They do it justice? Because Rhino does pretty good work overall, and I'm assuming they invested some degree of quality care into the catalog.
So here's the thing, for a casual fan, someone is going to pick up anything from the first album up until like Road to Ruin. Those are the first 4. Those are always available separate. I don't think your average Ramones fan is going to go after Animal Boy, Too Tough to Die. They're not going to go after those albums. So I think Rhino did it right by putting them all together. Now, I think they're going to slowly put them out separately because Rhino did that Start Your Ear Off Right campaign earlier this year, last month. And they did Subterranean Jungle on like purple vinyl. So I think slowly they're going to be putting the stuff out. But of course, to give that sense of exclusivity, there's the bonus LP of the demos, the B-sides, and this and that. So it makes you want to get it for that. But Rhino is one of those labels that whatever they put out, I can trust. It's always decent quality, whether it's pressing itself, sound quality, the source. They always have my vote in my book.
Was it with also the RSD version of the box? Was that on like different colored vinyl? Because I feel like it just came back in stock, but I feel it's just black releases. Do I have that right?
So the albums are on standard black, but the bonus LP of all the B-sides and extras is like on splatter vinyl.
Okay, that's what I remember.
So that's cool.
Okay, right on. All right, Matt, Stacy, number 3, please.
So clearly Rockabye Baby. No.
The Queen.
Husker Du, man. Like they've influenced so many bands that I love, whether that's bands I used to love or bands that I listen to now. Anything they do, like or did, is phenomenal to me. So that's one I considered, but also like, and I mean this with all the love in my heart, people going out for record store day aren't going for Husker Du records. So I could be, I'm somewhat wrong. Like they're not, and there is only one lullaby creator, and it is Sparrow Sleeps. That was my shout out because it's my friend that does that stuff. That's my shout out. Sparrow Sleeps is the only one that creates like if you were ever into emo or pop punk, listen to Sparrow Sleeps if you have a child, because Sparrow Sleeps
It's great.
But anyways, yeah, Husker Du, just 100%. Anything they've done, I will consume. So yeah.
Okay, Stacy.
Yes. Is this what my third pick?
This is your third.
Okay. So my third pick, I think, is going to be the Post Malone, Waiting for Never Hateful. Yeah. I love Post Malone.
Oh yeah, we
he's
share
just
that.
I think he's just a wonderful person. So
all right, his like during the height of the big C, his Nirvana thing, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna tune in for a train wreck. Let's go.
Pleasantly surprised.
And I was just
So
like, God
good.
damn. Like I was like, all right, like this is
My son and I, we had the haterade. We popped open some fresh
Oh, yeah.
cans. We're like, we're gonna
Mhm.
hate watch this because it's COVID. What else are you doing?
yeah.
And I got to be honest, he did really well. You know, of course, Travis Barker was Travis Barker and what have you. But I was like, you know what? Respect for trying, because it you know, that's a big try, and
It
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
and it's good, and it's
Yeah.
We
good.
didn't have a puddle of mud situation around. So like, you know,
So he's not waiting tables at an Applebee's like Wes Scantlin is anymore. Okay, got
yeah, if that's the bar, like,
it. Right.
you know, that's all I'm saying, you know.
Got it. Awesome. All right, Jason. What was the third thing that you're like, yeah, that's a good hit?
Well, it's kind of a tie. Should I give you a 2 or just
Yeah.
give you
Hey, listen. Equal
So
opportunity.
here's the tie. The Nuggets 5 LP.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing about that is if you hit that link on Record Store Day website, it's only showing you 2 of the records.
I noticed that. Yeah.
It's not showing you the other 3.
Why
So
do you think that is?
Well, you know, you run a website, you mess up if you're on the RSD committee, you know, who knows? So that's the mystery, right? And I can see that one going for a lot of money because, again, the information is incorrect on the website. Maybe I'll email them and then ask them. I know somebody on the committee, so I will ask. And the other one is the Prefab Sprout, the Steve McQueen record. Now, that record came, I think, in early 80s or something.
Mhm.
I think Mazzy can correct me, or John Bandy, if you're familiar with them, you can correct me on that. Because that got reissued back, I think, in 2017 or 2019, and that it's like actually an acoustic version of that album.
Mm.
That special release that came back then is going for, I think, $150, $200.
Wow.
So now that they're reissuing it, now is your chance to get it. You miss it now, like, I think that's your fault. See you later.
So Jason, Hit Priest has this question: is it the Nuggets box set? I'm assuming asking. Okay, got it. Perfect. All right, so that was the tie for third one. Tie for third 2.
Yes, definitely. I have a list, you know. So I did my homework, Chance. I don't know.
Hey.
I didn't know that was
The
homework.
thing is, I also found out that, like, you know, I'm not going to be around, so I had to like whittle down this huge list, you know, and give it to my friend and say, like, hey, like, if you can get these, you know, I'll come and meet you, you know, after Den Bosch. Like, I'll come to New York and we'll, you know.
Nice. So Mazzy says here, I think the Nuggets box is the same as the older expanded Nuggets CD box. Is that
Okay.
vibe with what you're hearing, Jason, or what you know about it?
Well, Mazzy, how many CDs are in the box? Can you write the comment? Or I'll look it up.
Also, while we're waiting for that, I'm just like, Jason knew there was homework, and
I don't know. Like, I'm used to, like, you know, just doing the research, like, especially on like
Okay.
the
You like already had a list.
Yeah.
He's got the list, and then the second list, and then you have a contingency plan. You've got
He was probably like, oh,
like,
yeah,
the thing is, you can't get it. I mean, and the crazy thing is, because what we're getting is the US Record Store Day, right?
Yeah, of
The
course.
UK version, it's got all these other things like Echo and the Bunnymen, Susie and the Banshees. Like, it was like a dagger in my heart. Like,
oh
what?
no,
You're not getting the Susie and the Banshees? You're joking, right? So then I thought, like, crazy enough, like, well, I'll just go to Amsterdam and like go get these things. And then I can imagine, you know, like, I'm hanging out with Michael 45 and Stunty, and they're going to be like, where are you going? I'm going to Amsterdam because I need to get those Record Store Day specials, you know, and they're going to look at me like, no.
I'm picturing you guys at a hookah bar, and you guys are reflecting on Den Bosch being this great success, and then you're like, hey, I've got to go.
Well, I think we're going to have fun. Like, I think if you saw their special last year, right? They were kind of looking for a lot of obscure things and stuff. And I felt like in some ways, some people were happy with that, and others, it kind of like they were not cool with it. You know, they thought like this was only for a special crowd of people. And to me, it's like, I'm going down there not just to meet them, but also to have fun and bring back, you know, like, you know, I want you to be able to find these records. It's not an exclusive club, you know. I want you to, you know, if you have the chance, go to one of the biggest record shows in our, you know, in globally, you know, and try to get deals. And that's what I'm going to do, other than like, having them make fun of me and vice versa.
That's just going to happen. Yeah. Are you going kind of eyes wide open? Because that's usually how I go. It's like when I go to Austin every year, it's usually eyes wide open. Of course, there's things I'm kind of looking for. Back of my head. I'm sorry. Too soon, man.
It hurts, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, at this point, like, for like Record Spinner and Vinyl Reckoning, you guys don't know me, but like my background, like I've been collecting for over 20 years, but what the hell do I know? But like I've seen, prices fluctuate, and I've been at that stage now where I have most of the dream records, I've always wanted. I'm not trying to brag, but that's after, again, having great mentors, teachers, and my motto is like, yeah, you have your dream records, and I know they're expensive now, but one day you'll get them for the price that's right for you.
Right.
I can't define that.
That's true.
You.
That's a beautiful sentiment, honestly, because
just wait it out, be patient. I know that in our times there's a lot of impatient people.
That's right.
I'm not Mike Esposito. I'm not going to go buy all the OJCs, of the world or any of that, or just buy,
tool test pressing,
right. Buy like a Nick Drake fruit tree, or the, one of those, and be like, I kind of like this, but maybe I'll listen to it later. Like, no, buy the records, that you want to listen to. Like, let somebody else, give the music back to the people.
Yeah. I know we're talking about RSD, but like that was absolutely beautiful, because it's so funny. I don't know what your like genre is, or multiple genres, or what your lane is for collecting records, but I've been collecting since, on and off since I was 15, so about 20 years, and kind of seriously for the last 10, maybe 15. I have those records, those like hard to find records that like the people of my generation and the music I grew up with would kill for. And I'm just like, yeah, I spent like $12 on it like 12 years ago, because that's what it was going for. And I bought it when they dropped it. And now that record goes for like $300. And I'm just like, don't spend $300 on this record.
Yeah.
It will die. Like the market will die. And like it doesn't make sense, but like it's the first time I've seen somebody or from what I can tell, outside of like the genre of collecting and in the world of collecting that I live in, saying, "Hey Siri," that I live in, actually say something like that. I don't think I've personally ever spent more than $90 on a record, and there's nothing I'm pining after. Because I had patience, and that's what it is. It's this now. The collecting world we live in requires so much patience.
Yes,
and I don't think people are understanding that, and that's and that's my piece. That's what I got.
The Swifties don't.
The Swifties don't get it, man.
That's all right. They're 12. Leave them alone.
This is what we're kind of. First of all,
stop.
So breaking news: Matt and Jason have a new channel called Vinyl Philosophies coming out after this live stream. We're debuting it. No, it's
nice,
baby. No.
Awesome. All right. So rounding third, I'll say my last pick was Scott Weiland's solo record, 12 Bar Blues.
Cool.
Which has never been on vinyl. Actually, I saw the CADs, the specs. It looks like a green vinyl. I know this was after he kind of left or was fired. I know it's kind of up in the air depending on who you ask. If you ask the DeLeo brothers or you ask the Weiland camp, I left, they fired me. But it was before Velvet Revolver. So it was kind of like this album that he was just kind of like trying something different. That was one that literally when I saw it kind of jumped off the page to me. Like I said, I missed that Van Halen the first time around, but I went right to Scott Weiland. So super pumped about that. All right. Home stretch on this convo, guys. Let's talk about that interesting title that it's not your top three, but it's something like if it's there for whatever reason, if it's something, it's just why not? Or, maybe kind of like talking about the Chet Mono, something you're like, there's, a why not grab. Dylan, we'll start with you.
I think for me, it's, that kind of lends itself into like, I basically made a list before we went live of like all the stuff that I know I'm going to be.
Why is no one telling us about this homework?
Homework on the bottom, freestyle on the top.
Honestly, it kind of teeters. It's between one or the other. So right off the bat, there's the reissue of Beggar's Banquet by the Rolling Stones. I already have 2 versions of it. I have a clear vinyl version in stereo. I have the colored mono box set. This is like on colored vinyl. You know, if I was to get that, then obviously that's an upgrade copy. You know, I'll part ways with my clear and that's fine. But in terms of like a blind buy type thing, I'm going to go with the Spinning Gold soundtrack. Spinning Gold is a movie that's coming out relatively soon. And just to tie it all in, it is about Neil Bogart and his label, Casablanca Records, which, of course, Kiss was on. And they also had Parliament. They had Donna Summer. So it's kind of more so just down to the Kiss connection. Spoiler alert, I don't know if you guys have like seen any like previews or whatever, but they dropped a clip of Kiss playing in the film. I don't think they got the clearances to use the makeup. And it's atrocious, but it's the history. It's the history and the connection that is like, okay, I feel like I have to. So that's kind of my blind kind of pick.
Awesome. Josh D's got a really good point, and this is something I've been really trying to focus on this year myself. I would rather buy one really expensive record that I like than buy 100 junk records from the dollar bin.
Amen.
Boom. Preach.
Wow, listen,
Preach.
Josh D. You know, that's not what Rob Wax would do, all right? Get it straight to your head, man.
All right, Matt, Stacy. What's the one that hey, I'm there, you're there, coming home?
For me, the Soul Asylum, MTV
Unplugged?
Unplugged. Yeah. Like it was, you know, it's a band I love and that I listened to a lot when I was younger. But it's just, I've actually never heard that performance. And for me, that's just like, that's pretty cool. The Pearl Jam one kind of kicked ass. So, you know, why not?
Yeah. Stacey?
Me, the Cranberries.
Cool.
And I feel like that's my choice for that one because last year I got the Remembering Dolores one.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm good with that, you know? Like I just feel like, you know.
I mean, Zombie's tight.
Well, yeah.
It's a great song.
But
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right.
But I'll probably, I don't know, that one will probably get either way. So
yeah.
And Jason, with all the pre-planning you're doing, I guess would this one also fall within the confines of somebody, like you're telling somebody to get this one, or is it like a second tier, like, hey, if it's around?
No, it's the former. Someone's got to get it.
All right.
I would suggest Raphael Sadiq, who was from Tony.
Yeah.
You need to get this. I think it's his first album, The Way I See It. It's they released it, I think, reissued it. That thing is going for 100, 150. Woo. This is it. Don't miss out on this. Like, you want to flip it, this is another good one to flip, you know?
Shut up, Jason.
Jason's up to about $100 running my bill over here with this.
Right.
What is it going to sell? Like, what, 25, 26 new or 32, right?
Yeah.
Again, like, you could get this and really good music. Like, he's doing more Northern Soul. This is perfect if you're into that.
No, the point, and I've approached Record Store Day similarly the last couple of years, where if it's been something where exactly what you're saying, Jason, if I'm kind of interested lukewarm, it's now get it now, or you know you're fighting the resale market, you're fighting the tide and the current of the resale market, and at worst, let's say it doesn't agree with you, you want to get off of it, like my friend Brandon always says, it's money on the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can definitely get off of it, but yeah, that's kind of the catch-22 is you got to strike or forget about it.
So you're from St. Louis, right? And then where's everyone else from?
Dylan?
I'm from South Jersey.
South Jersey, okay.
We're currently living in North Carolina.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now hang on, are you not claiming North Carolina? Are you still
I don't claim. No, listen, man.
We've lived in.
Who are you claiming, dog? Come on.
Where are we from, or where do we live?
I'm from New Hampshire, the bath salts capital
from
of the
Louisiana.
world. So,
okay. But you live in North Carolina now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not like. And have you been to the RSD in your city?
Not yet. We've been here for less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, last year we lived in Austin last year. So
I used to live in Austin too. So like end of the year, break away,
Uh-oh,
that was
shots
great.
fired.
Go.
Shots
Yeah.
fired. Spin Doctor in his vinyl mayhem says, "What's wrong with North Carolina?"
Nothing's
nothing.
wrong.
Nothing is
We
wrong.
love
I want to be very clear. We're not.
We
Uh,
love it.
We were
judging.
confused about the question because it was, where are you from?
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
were
sorry.
like, wait.
So
We-
where you currently live. So, I mean, and Dylan, you don't have any trouble getting any records in Jersey and South Jersey, right?
No, not at all. I mean, in terms of like the shop that I work at is the only real shop within like rural South Jersey. Cause like once you start branching out close to Philly, that's where you get like all the small towns with other shops. It's not hard whatsoever.
Okay. But I mean, so let me back up this question for you then. Like, do you take part in the ordering of the RSD titles?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually submitting my order tomorrow.
So Jason has a list. If you have the record spinner at Gmail, just
No worries.
No. I'm good. I'm good. No,
We're
good.
seeing the Taylor Swift 7-inch
good.
make an
I'm
appearance.
good.
Again, Jason is letting us
I'm
know.
good. Let's just. I'm good. I'm
Oh.
good. Clear.
I almost said that would be my there if it's there.
I've actually never seen one before. Like I've never seen the vinyl before because my best friend is a die-hard Swiftie. Hers is still sealed. Like
Nice.
I'm like, what do you plan on doing with it?
Oh, now he's showing the record.
So
If you're
for Dylan,
podcasting,
this is it, right?
That's gorgeous.
I mean,
Then she's
folklore.
like lying down,
Yeah.
Dude,
There you go.
What's wrong with Taylor Swift? She makes
Nothing.
some bangers. Like,
There-
Not gonna lie, Folklore was the album that sold me. When I
What
heard
is-
that, I was like, okay, I get it.
so
get
you
it.
like The
Right.
National, is what you're saying?
Well, me too.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what? It's funny. I've never dug into the National much.
you're weird,
Oh.
man. Like, not for me.
Chance,
But,
do you want me
upper
to break the
squares,
stream?
bottom
Chance,
squares.
Chance, do you want me to break the live stream? Do you want me to
Uh-oh.
break your live stream?
Let's break it.
I'll go
Let's
get it.
break it. Break
I'll
it.
get it.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna wrap this portion up because this will go on the pod tomorrow. But that was our kind of initial deep dive. Now, if you're watching live, we're just gonna keep going. But for the sake of time, that was our initial kind of first impressions of the list. So Vinyl Reckoning joined us, Matt and Stacy, Dylan, the record spinner, thanks for joining us, and then Jason Ross, thanks for joining us. Now, in that. And let's get go ahead, Jason. Let's break the internet. Let's forget the live stream. Let's break the internet. Let's
Let me
go.
get it in the other
Are
room,
we
so I'll
pulling
break
out
your
our
live stream. Okay?
Go for it.
Like,
If Jason comes back and nothing but a bath towel, it's gonna. My YouTube channel is over. I'm sorry.
a Swifty bath
Yeah.
towel, okay?
Well, let's go to the gallery here. We got some folks who've joined us. Let's see. I saw Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. I threw out the invite, B.
Brandon.
So come on up. I quoted you and everything. Oh. Look at this. I think we've got him. Do we got him?
Let's go.
Come
So
on.
for Dylan, your friend, right? This was very amazing here.
Am I
Chance,
in?
can you make me big? Just
I
make me big.
can. I can.
Where's
Hold,
my-
please.
Make
Well-
this man big.
So we can see that, right? That blue, right? We can see it.
Oh, wait a sec. I know what
is
that
it the auto? This is the autograph. I can right,
I
Jason?
see that.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is that hottie, right? It's very hot right now, you know.
Major
Our hands
flex.
are literally on fire.
I
Wait,
hold on.
no.
Are you acting like we don't have two of those in this?
Oh
house?
no! This,
Right
Oh,
this is
man.
this is getting out of control real
There we
fast.
go.
This is going to be a
Yeah.
Taylor. Brandon, I'm
Beautiful.
sorry you came up at the Taylor Swift
Beautiful,
portion.
right?
Of the
No.
That just means the
I'm not gonna
conversation's
let
getting
Jason
deep. That's all.
act
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
When you get on the live stream, you have to raise the stakes. This is what it's
Right.
all about.
Jason did his homework and he had these. He had 6 in the clip. He was ready. He's not messing around today.
All right,
Oh,
it's still sealed, dog. It's
There we
still
go.
sealed.
There we go.
What's up?
That was mine.
You got to listen to it though. It's worth listening to. You
Oh,
gotta
we have
listen.
another one that's not sealed. I don't know why we have two, but we do.
and it has that sticker. Where did the sticker that says signed copy come from, Matt?
This came School Kids Records.
Okay.
Not the best record store in Raleigh.
But they only
But
had like 2 other people waiting outside.
yeah, like we showed up, we're like, let's go get the record. It got released today, and then there was a line,
But it was like 3 people.
and we're like, fine. But and because I don't like to talk to people,
But you got it though, right? That was the amazing
We
thing.
both bought
We
one.
both got one, yeah.
And the
Both
dude
got
at the
one.
counter was like, I don't give a shit. Like, I was like, can
Well,
you
we were separate transactions, so it's not like you could say like
Yeah.
one per person, one like.
Oh,
you
it
know,
was wild.
He didn't know we were in the same household.
He's like, I don't want you in this store.
But it
and I'm
was-
like, that's cool. Like,
Yeah,
it was
there were
just-
only like three or four people in front of
Yeah.
us, so it was
Okay. But how
Yeah.
many copies were at the store though when you
a
went
good
there?
amount.
I'd say at least 10.
I want to
at least
say
10.
at least.
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
say there was maybe like 5 or 6 of the signed ones.
No, I would say 10 of the signed ones
I don't-
easily.
I feel like there was
That's
maybe a
wild.
little less than the signed ones, and there were like, but it was weird. Other people were like, I would rather this one, and I was like, get the signed one. It's the same price. Like,
Because
just get it.
Taylor touched it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I was like,
so
shit.
we think. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
think.
right?
But-
Normally we get different pressings of things if we're gonna get one that we
Mhm.
already have, but we were both like, he was like, well, I want the signed one, and I was like, well, so do I. So
Yeah.
we both
So let me ask Dylan, did your record store get the signed one?
We got one copy. And it was gone. So, I mean, I don't know if, like, for you guys in your respective neck of the woods, like, all the distros kind of got gypped at the last minute. Like, they received their shipments the day before the album came out. And of course, you know, Target and Walmart, they got theirs, you know,
Naturally.
no big whoop, whatever. So, like, I remember being on the phone with my sales rep with the distros I buy from. I'm like, can you, like, UPS one day this just to have it by release day? And sure enough, you know, I'm in good standing with, you know, certain people. I'm just like, please do me a favor. So
You had to
So, yeah.
burn a favor to get the Taylor Swift auto record, Dylan. I mean, because you got to keep that. That's the silver bullet. What if there's like some crazy Kiss release that it's one of 10, and you shot the Taylor Swift blank? No.
All right. By the way, Dylan, you got to sell me on Kiss, man. I don't get it.
All right.
Um, We'll hook up later.
Hang on.
Right,
I'm gonna put
wait
you
a
on the
sec.
spot. You've
we're
got
1
this-
hour and 6 minutes in. I don't have time to go on to hour 4. I don't have
Right.
Okay, no, but no, we'll meet up later because I don't get it. And,
Okay. And you know what? And that's okay. I understand that. And I
Yeah.
will say, for them being my favorite band, I have developed a lot of character because I get my pod shots for it. I truly do. Literally, like
Right
on my first day of working at the record store that I now manage, my one coworker said, "You are too cool to like them." And I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
Like,
That's
what?
so mean. Like, that's so mean. What?
For
Like,
real.
Jeez.
But you know what though? Like when you hear I mean, I don't have to give a college level dissertation about it, but you'll understand with time what it means to fans, especially old school ones from the 70s. You'll get why it means so much to them, for sure.
yeah. All right. Respect. All right.
Yep.
But I'm gonna hit you up on the internet. And
Yeah,
we're gonna-
totally.
You're gonna
on the
You're gonna tell me.
interwebs.
I
Right.
will give you a nice primer. I will give you a primer.
love it.
You wanted the best. You asked for the best.
Damn straight.
You got the best. So, Brandon, thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasant surprise. It's awesome.
Yeah,
to see you.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're familiar with the panel. So we've got Dylan, the record spinner, who you've met, right?
Yeah.
You guys have
Most
connected.
definitely.
I
You guys-
just have to say real quick, Brandon, when you had myself, Marique, and Emma and Jenna at your place when we visited St. Louis,
Mhm.
that was one of the highlights of the trip. So thank you so much for your hospitality.
Oh, absolutely, man. That was a blast having you guys over that night. So anytime,
Thank you.
absolutely anytime.
Now, Dylan, you were kind of rub it in my face because, you know, me and Brandon hang. We go shopping together. I still haven't been over to Brandon's man cave. So I think I'm almost, it's like final boss. It's like a video game. I'm almost there. But you guys,
When you
got
see
it.
all the MoFi records in one section, then you'll be good. You'll be in the elite.
Oh, man. Amazing.
Not to
Amazing.
mention all the OG Donna's records, but I'm going to stop right there.
Oh, no.
I'm just like,
Awesome.
I'll never see these again.
So, Brandon, we got Jason Rojas, who over 20 years you've been collecting, Jason?
I'm not bragging, just
No,
20
facts,
years of,
straight
you know,
facts, homie,
having
straight facts.
fun, having headaches, like trying to find those dream records,
Mhm.
that's all.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yeah.
right.
I've been to a lot of record shows and seen all that action. So, I mean, that's why
Mhm.
like going to Den Bosch is kind of like the extreme dream, to go to the hugest, record show. It's like the
Sure.
size of a football field. But I think Chance, you've been to the Austin record show. It's very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, actually, we're trying to get Brandon. Brandon, is this the year? We got you.
This is definitely the year.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for I don't know how long now, so we know this is definitely the year.
We've been talking for a hot minute, and I've sampled all the good foods down there, so we're ready. We've got records on the mind. We got Torchy's tacos ready at the Willing, and it's gonna be a good time for sure.
Man,
Sorry. So
best.
I think I don't know if Matt will come back to the stream, but so Vinyl Reckoning, my good friends here, Matt and Stacy. Matt will reappear. He'll be like an apparition. He'll appear.
I'm here, I swear to God.
But they just moved from Austin to North Carolina. They were actually just telling me they went to Noble Records yesterday. Is that right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they're getting well because on their channel they do a lot of store visits. They're really teaching, at least their audience, and teaching me some of the good shops, because when you're a traveler, one of the things I'm always interested in are what are the good record shops. And you can go to Yelp and you can go to some of the Reddit pages, but Matt and Stacey are doing an A+ job of actually giving you the visual representation of the shops, but also talking about it. And do you guys buy a shirt at every shop? Or
Sometime, yeah.
So
if they
If we have it, we buy a shirt at
Yeah.
every shop.
So if we're not wearing the shirt from the shop, that just means they didn't have them.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I will tell you, if you're going to the Austin Record Convention, phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And also, don't go to Torchy's. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
I was gonna say, like,
Get
what's
better
wait,
tacos.
Wait, where should we Taco
What?
Deli? Taco Deli.
Taco
Go to
Deli is better than Torchy's.
Lil John says, what? Torchies, man. I love my Torchies.
Taco Deli.
Torchy's is fine.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. It's not bad
What was the other one?
by
we liked?
any stretch of the imagination. It is not bad, but like
It's not,
you
but
are
there's
in
better.
Austin,
There's
Texas.
better.
I
Get-
do believe you. But they've
I'm
thought
mad
of
at you.
everything at Torchy's. They've got the Diablo queso. They've got a taco named Democrat. They've got a taco named Republican. So they're not picking sides. They have breakfast tacos. Delightful. So
Taco Deli.
Taco Deli has better breakfast tacos than
Oh,
Torchy's.
they're like
Sorry.
they're
I'm stroking out.
I
Help.
know. I'm just saying. But no,
we're
the
taco fanatics. So.
the Austin Record Convention is choice. I got in an argument with a dude once before they reissued the Space Jam soundtrack.
The first
That
time
always
words
causes
have ever been said. I got it.
Hear me out. I wanted it so bad. I was like, this is the most ridiculous shit on the face of this earth. And some guy, like, this is I lived in Austin for 13-ish years. And this is like before like the boom and the, you know, we're gonna grade sealed records now, shit like that. And some dude wanted like $100 for it. And I was like, dude, I will give you $50 for the Space Jam soundtrack. These are words that I'm speaking right now. And he was like, no. And I'm like, dude. He's like, I know what I have. I was like, yeah, you have the Space Jam soundtrack. And I want it.
Must have. Now, Eddie, I don't disagree that Torchy's are gringo tacos. No disagreement. But I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a gringo, and they are delicious to me.
Yeah.
Newsflash, I am a gringo. So I am all about recommendations. I love food recommendations, and I find that recommendations for food are almost as good as music, but not
Yes.
quite. Because
I
again,
agree.
you can go to Yelp, you can go online, but hearing it from somebody else.
Any taco truck you see parked in a gas station is better than Torchy's. I swear to you.
Well, that's kind of any.
Hang Oh, I lost your audio, guys. I don't know what happened. What? Internet's weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
my
But I
Torchy's
mean-
here now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so funny. Hey, Brandon, we got a question, and I think this is a good one because I don't know if I know Dylan obviously knows you. The rest of the panel, Brandon, longtime collector, amazing record collection. He's inspired me in so many ways to step my game up from a quality perspective, from discipline of cleaning my records and being more organized. I'm getting there, B. I promise you, I'm getting there. But Josh D has a great question, because one thing that Brandon does is he makes his own box sets. Brandon, you can talk about it, right? Like he literally, and I'm not just saying he's got a box and he writes Van Halen on it. He literally has the Frankenstein guitar artwork on it, and he makes it himself. It's
That's
beautiful,
cool.
chef's kiss. So Brandon, any new box sets you've got in the creation stage?
Creation stage, yes. I'm in the process of working on a U2 box set that I've kind of had sitting to the side for quite some time, and I've actually started to work on it now. But that's the only one right now that I'm working on.
And what, when you're making a box set, if you could tell the folks, is it the full discography, or is it a certain point in their career? Like, what's the thought process behind it?
Almost always pick something where I can get the full discography. So typically it's a group that has a bunch of different albums out. But yeah, I don't even start playing around with the box set idea until I have the entire discography on vinyl.
Cool.
And so then it's just like, you get used to flipping through the albums and certain artwork, patterns, designs, themes that really get associated with a band, that type of thing. It's hard to look at like a Rob Zombie or White Zombie and not immediately go to zombies, demons, ghosts, like weird women and cartoon characters and all. And so you just get those ideas and just start looking all over the place for them. It's like it's a blast to do, man.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like, when you say you create these box sets, are you like in a wood shop? Like,
no, I'm not that talented. I wish, but like those old carrying cases that used to be so big with vinyl that maybe held 15, 20 records. Like, you'll find those things beat up all over the place.
Yeah.
Whether they're like rusted out or whatever. And you just you sand them and end up, painting them, getting stickers, doing your own decorations, and just kind of making it something exciting to look at again.
So Brandon, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we do have a request. Do you have the Van Halen box nearby?
I can grab it really quick.
Yeah, because I don't want to overstate this. Like, this is a true work of art, because again, somebody can just write, thank you. Somebody could just write Van Halen or just like put their pictures, but this thing is beautiful. Like A+. Like, Brandon, if he ever was of the means or disposition to just make these for other people, it would definitely be something you'd want to see, because it is like amazing. Sure. Now that I'm
big.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Now Brandon's a big guy anyway. I think he's 6. Brandon, you have to 6'7", 6'8". He's a big guy already. So we're gonna make him like Ant-Man, Giant Man big. We're gonna really hook this up.
Weird. I'd like to see Stacy standing next to him.
All right.
Yeah, I'm very short.
All right.
So we're gonna make you big, B. Here we go.
This used to be like a baby blue, rusted out.
Shit. It looks like something.
So you just kind of, do like the old stripes and all of that, and then
wild.
Just put like a little insert thing that I made that all the studio albums inside.
Awesome. Dude.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
A blast to do,
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So that's it.
Dude.
That is so cool.
I'm telling you, like,
they came out with a pair of leggings with that print on it, like
cool.
the Van Halen leggings.
Sure,
and,
hell yeah.
He made
and it was what else? Like a guitar pedal and stuff too. That looked like that. That's
cool.
cool.
That's dope.
That's so neat.
Hell yeah.
Oh, hey, Brandon, the gallery is after you today. They've got another question for you, if you don't mind. Oh, that's very cool, Brandon. Let's see.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jazz Bum Mike. I don't know if you know Jazz Bum's Mike. He is the middle Jazz Bum. He is he's here. He said, Brandon, any updates to your stereo or speaker placements?
I did get a new preamp that I moved to my new system. I was actually, right before I came in, I was working on doing the editing for my room tour. And that's why I started just kind of popping through and caught your video there. So no gigantic upgrade since my last room tour, except for that piece, but stuff, of course, rearranged and moved around and all that. So I'm always doing that. So yeah.
Is it okay if we talk about your other endeavor you've got going on, the one you gave me the card for? Definitely. So I'll kind of tee it up. So Brandon, obviously, truly one of the OGs of the vinyl community on YouTube. How long have you been doing this, Brandon? Like 14 years? I think I made the first video like 14 years ago. I mean, he's seen it all. He knows the names, and there's names that nobody knows that he knows, right? That kind of thing. But
come and gone.
But Brandon's passion is unmatched, right? And again, like I said before, he's really given me a lot of great ideas and inspirations for how I collect. But taking that to the next step, Brandon has started a business, right? And I'll kind of let you talk about, Brandon, in terms of, think about people who are new to vinyl, or people who come from some means, or people who just are intimidated by learning the hobby, particularly now, since there's so many ways to collect, places to go to collect, etc. So Brandon, why don't you kind of talk about what you got going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I appreciate you even kind of, bringing that up here.
Happy to.
But yeah, like about a year and a half ago, my girlfriend has a friend that lives out in the Wyoming area, and she owns a business where she used to be a librarian, and she kind of moved into her own business where she goes around really kind of the world and sets up individual libraries for basically wealthy people in their homes. They just want to have their own personal libraries. And so she had a couple of clients that had asked her about, this vinyl thing that's kind of come about and all of that. So long story short, she ended up hiring me to just basically build some vinyl collections for some of her clients, like 500-piece collections, 600-piece collections, and that type of thing. And so, it was just like one of the most fun things in the world that, I've ever done with someone just says like, here's all this money, just go out and build this type of collection for me. And it's, just like traveling all over the place and hitting up these stores and just buying hundreds of albums. And I thought, this is something I need to freaking get into. So long story short, I just kind of started my own business called Sounds of You Vinyl Curating. And that's basically what I do. It's just people hiring me to build collections for them, just kind of from scratch.
Unbelievable.
I have a question. Why are you so cool?
I know. Can we be friends?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's awesome. Matter of fact, I think I got one of my little just kind of give you a little idea if you can. That's the new business card right there.
Now look at this good-looking guy. What a good-looking guy! Hang on, here's another good-looking guy.
Right to the website.
Here are two good-looking guys. It's gonna talk about breaking the internet. We are breaking the internet. Sorry, Jason. You almost you softened up the internet for us, but we are officially breaking the internet here.
Okay.
Chance is like the best PR I could ever have.
Hey, I think it's an amazing idea. It's got literally great proof of concept, and honestly, I couldn't think of a better person. I couldn't think of a better person to run something like this because it's going to be somebody who knows what they're talking about. Oh,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
So that is the most wild business.
Like,
oh my god!
No.
Like, I want to be you.
No, it's like everything you've shown. That's like such creative ideas.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But the best part, Brandon has an amazing top tier record collection. But the best part about him is his humility. So you won't hear Brandon. That's why I'm kind of like his flavor right now, hyping this because
I do appreciate it because I'm not gonna say I'm not comfortable doing it, but it's just kind of one of those I don't bring it up unless it's brought up kind of things.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. Like the last couple of times I've seen him, I'm like, so have you made the announcement video? Have you made the announcement video? And then I saw him at this record show a couple weeks ago, and he handed me the business card, and I'm like, yes. The train is pulling into the station, so I didn't want to, spoil the surprise. But I think it's a great idea, run by a great guy. It's gonna be
totally
awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, dude.
So last thing, well, not last thing, but Brandon, I know you kind of came in late. What record store day stuff are you looking forward to this year?
Really, the biggest thing that stood out to me was that Kitty Until the End. I've loved Kitty for so long, and like the last 2 record store days, they've dropped something by them, which is absolutely fantastic. Especially considering that it seems like that's not something that everyone is going for.
Okay.
So there's always leftovers, which makes it even better because now it's like I know I'll get one. But
I wanted that too, the Kitty one. I was like, I have to. Like that was like what elementary school maybe for me.
Right.
I'm almost 40.
Exactly.
I'm in my late 30s. So I'm like, Kitty is on this list. Kitty Sit? Are you kidding me right now? I listen to Brackish like once a week now. Ever since I got, I was just like, God, it brings me back. That's
definitely the big thing on my list. But oddly, overall, I'm never a huge RSD guy. I just I've been collecting for probably right about 20 years, 18, 19 years, somewhere around there. And it just seemed like, record store day used to be a fun thing. Yeah. Now it's kind of turned into the whole Black Friday thing.
10 years ago, when, literally it was fun. If you went I always think back when somebody says record store day, I think of that Foo Fighters record, the covers record, Medium Rare that they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2011, I want to say. It was the same year Wasting Light came out. And, you know, I was still new to like Record Store Day. What's it about? Still kind of getting my feet wet, getting into vinyl, etc. And I went to my local, and that was my first experience with the giant line and the guys who camped out and the big stacks under their arms.
Mhm.
So by the time I got up there, and it was like a baby deer, I was trying to figure out, there's people with the elbows, all that kind of stuff. But that was the one thing I wanted. Didn't have it at my local. So then I drove to a mall, which had a record store. They ran out. But, and this is why I like the hobby so much. I know there's some trolling. I know there's some negativity to it. But literally at the counter, just serendipitously, I'd say, hey, do you guys have the Foo Fighter medium rare? And the clerk's like, no, we don't have it. But somebody standing right there said, I think it's over at CD Warehouse. Brandon, you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, man, it was like the Batmobile. I grabbed my son. Like, we're just like, you know, it was like Wile E. Coyote. The smoke is coming from behind us. And sure as shit, that store had the last copy. And that's like one of my favorite.
Wow.
But would that happen today? Maybe.
Chance, did you cry when you got it? Did you cry?
No.
I
A
don't
record?
know.
No.
You knew Jason, RSD hater.
And that's exactly what made me think to mention that, because I saw that down there and I was like, I am so with you, man. I'm just I love what it does for the stores. You know, I love the business. I love the, you know, the energy that it brings, but just the whole and all this and the flipping, and it's just, I almost just want to stay away from it, quite frankly.
It's I think Chance said it, where it's like that Black Friday-esque, like, give me what I want, like start elbowing people. But at the same time, like, we talk about it supporting stores, but we also, you know, I don't think the conversation on a large scale happens where it's like, it's bringing attention to the format that we love. And we're now seeing reissues of albums, albeit some of them like sound like shit. But like reissues of albums that we loved because someone sees money in it. So sure, I'm absolutely gonna shell out money for records. Like I am, like, good for you, you got me. And that's great. And also like the idea of like my 13-year-old godson like is interested in vinyl, and I'm like, dude, what do you want to know? Like, and as far as he's concerned, I'm a wealth of knowledge. In fact, I'm a moron. So like, it's just, you know, and that's what's super cool about it. It's like anything. It's a bonding experience with a family member, a friend, or anything like that. So like, sure, RSD at its core is no longer what it was meant to be, but it brings light to something we love, and I think that goes underappreciated.
It's a burden and a curse. You hit it on the head, because the Black Friday, the mob mentality, all that kind of stuff. It's the ugly part. The price increases, all that ugly part of it. But the fellowship.
Do they even do the Record Store Day shows like anymore? You know what I mean?
You mean where bands come and play? And it's a great point, because I know 5-10 years ago. Now Brandon works at Riverbend Records, cheap plug. But you guys do try to bring in music, and you guys do try to make it an event, right? Like, not a lot of record stores are doing that anymore.
Yeah, but Billy always does there's a taco truck and one other guy that always comes out. Usually we have anywhere from 3 to 4 different artists that play. Like, you know, during the springtime or summer, we'll set up the tents outside, and we'll have live music all day long. And it's definitely much more of a kind of hang and actually, you know, be with each other throughout the course of the day, and not to get your stuff and take off.
No, and that's the fellowship piece, right? Like, I know I was making fun of the older guys there at 4 o'clock the day before, but to their credit, there's a group of them. They're in a circle and they're just talking music. Like, there's so many conversations I even remember just thinking about now. Strangers sitting in line next to them, and sometimes they're telling me stories. To be honest, I don't want to hear. It's 3 a.m. or 6 a.m, and they're talking about but it's their experience, and then eventually it comes around. Like one person years ago was talking about, we were talking about Charles Bradley, is one of my favorite soul singers, Daftone label, and we started talking about that, and he started talking about, well, I used to live in South Africa, and we call them platters down there. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then he hit me with the bomb, and he's like, have you ever been to Half Price Books? And I was still early in collecting. I was like, oh, it's a bookstore, I'm familiar. And he's like, don't sleep. Go check
Yeah.
it. And this was back when you could still find some heat at Half Price Books, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's
Yeah.
those kind of organic interactions. And I didn't get the guy's number. We're not lifelong besties. I have a couple people who I got the number and we didn't keep in contact. But that kind of fellowship is what I guess maybe romantically, one tear. Eddie said one tear doesn't mean you're crying. But I think it's true. It's like that kind of romanticism, not just with the hobby, not just with the music, but the fellowship is something that I still think it's there. Dylan said, like the spirit, I think is still there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of noise and the FOMO and the Swifties we were just talking about before. I don't think they're going to be hanging around the shop after they get their
There it
Cocked
is.
and loaded, just like insert.
I should have kept mine out here.
I see Jason D in the chat. This is something I want.
Josh, this is Josh D, the immortal Josh D. Yes,
the immortal Josh D. What does he say?
That one
Oh,
or
no,
the
no,
other
no, no.
one? The last one.
The RSD brings out the people who say vinyls. Let him say it, homie. Who cares? Who cares?
They want to be grammatically incorrect.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
RSD
fine.
brings out the Crosley owners. Let them.
Hey, if that's
Let
all they
it.
can afford, let them.
If that
Yeah.
gets a weird, obscure
Yeah.
album that I
no,
love,
you said it earlier, man. That's exactly
That's
right.
correct.
I used to be part of the anti-Crosley, and I would never recommend somebody get a Crosley. However, it's a means to an end, because without that, let's call it your meat and potatoes crew who's going to Bed Bath and Beyond and getting a record or whatever, right? Entry level, there wouldn't be that kind of there wouldn't be that honestly money-making opportunity that then would inspire some of these labels to go into the vaults, to listen to their folks on the ground, to listen to these people, to then bring out these releases that we talked about it earlier, are going for hundreds, thousands of dollars. That I don't know about you guys, I don't want to pay that. I mean, it's not really in my DNA to pay that much for a record, but I get it.
Yeah,
just,
gotta start somewhere,
dude. Like that's the thing. Like, and Josh, I'm not shitting on you.
No, Josh is already.
Yeah, like it's but like at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
If someone wants to call them like spinny biscuits, I'm fine with it.
Platters, like I said, the guy was Platters, and I was like, I was kind of snobbing. I'm like, oh, okay, Platters. But point is still the same. You can call them potatoes. I don't care, as long as you enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm not gonna. And same thing goes for taste. I know we were talking earlier about, what's the word I'm looking for when
is it? I know what you're trying to think of.
Not secret, but somebody likes something that
guilty
they already.
Pleasure.
Yes, guilty pleasure.
I knew
Thank you.
it.
Those do not exist.
No,
Right.
that's exactly what I was going to say, because to each their own. Like Brandon and I talked about this. Like, I was really happy that Creed, My Own Prison, was finally on vinyl. It reminds me of high school. That's arguably their best album to me. And I was, that bootleg came out like 2 years ago, and I was very excited about it. Now, does that mean Dylan was? Probably not. I know Jason probably wasn't happy, excited about it like I was, but to each their own. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like it really should just come down to the fact if you look across the table, across the aisle, and you see another human being enjoying music on vinyl, that's all that matters. And if anything, if you're at that point of willing to buy a Crosley or whatever else, then all I see is that's an opportunity for someone to go to the next level. Like, hey, come jump on board this train, man. This is a fun. I remember the crappy Sony USB table I had when I first started.
Right.
When I think about myself playing $200 records on that table, I'm like, what?
Wow.
But eventually, it's just man, you just join the family. When you buy one record and buy one turntable, as far as I'm concerned, you're part of the damn family.
Jason, I know you kind of went through this. I want to say a month or two ago, when we were talking on Rachel's stream, I think it was, and they were asking you what your setup was. And I know that's a big thing. Like, it's almost like a status symbol, or like it's almost a pre-qualifier, like a Hoffman Forums, right? Like, you got to say what your setup is before you're qualified to speak about your experience with the vinyl. And I think you handled that really well. You're like, this is my setup and it works for me. And I thought you handled that really well.
Thank you.
Well,
So let me explain. Like, so my setup is just
right,
2 Techniques turntables, a mixer, and powered speakers. And
Cool,
I'm able
cool.
to compare rather easily, like, different pressings, because then I can just move the crossfader, on the mixer, and then I hear it. And I'm not saying like I know all, but I can compare. Like, I was comparing the Alice Coltrane, that Journey record, that free jazz record.
Sure.
I finally got the vinyl Me Please.
Oh,
to
cool.
Get ready for that reissue that's coming next month.
Mhm.
You know?
Oh, yeah,
So
nice.
I was just making sure to listen to it and see the differences and like get ready, basically. You know.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So Vance is here, my man Vance, one of the best in Chicago. He says, I get anxious when I see a title on an RSD list I really want, having to deal with lines of people shoving to hopefully get a copy. Now, Vance, I'm sure you put somebody down on the ground if it's a Pearl Jam or Zeppelin. I understand what you're saying. I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of the turnoff, right? I would say, especially of late. Like, I know people who kind of what Brandon was saying before, like it used to be this and now it's this, and trying to find that secret in the middle, right? Still getting enjoyment out of it, because there are some really, we talked about it earlier, there are some really good titles that are coming out, but the Sea of Humanity, and I also understand why they have the Taylor Swift record, right? You're trying to bring more people into the hobby and being inclusive, so all those things. So I think it's like anything else, gang. It's the good and the bad, and if it gets too bad, check out, you know what I mean? Like there are other places to find your happiness.
Also, none of us in this group right now will ever check out. Come on. Like, come on. Like, you know, like, I tried once. So, and I was like, I'm kidding. So, like, dude.
Now, this is a good point. Now, Beth, side note, I went down. So, Brandon, I didn't tell you this, but there was a record show in Beth's area, Southwest Missouri, in Carthage, and I'll tell you about it later. But
Okay.
I was hoping to connect with Beth, but she had a Taekwondo tournament. I think probably one of her children. But one of these times we're going to connect. I know we talked about maybe going to that Springfield show, so maybe we'll connect with her there.
Great.
Anyway, she says here there are a lot of vinyl snobs that put people off. I agree 1,000,000%. There's a lot of gatekeeping. I know Matt and Stacy, you guys were talking about that before. It says the more people that buy records, the better for the longevity of this medium. And no matter what, no matter where you start, it's all good. And
That's true.
Hell yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I mean, my best friend, like I said, like I got her into vinyl, and crucify me, I did buy her a Crosley, just because the way I see it, it's a sort of, it's like dipping the toes in the water. It's like, okay, try this out. If you like it, then hell, you can upgrade to something else or whatever. Or if you want to stick to it, it's fine. You know, just enjoy the tunes.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. And you know, one other thing that happens to us a lot at the shop, and also kind of, well, we'll have people that'll come in with brand new records they bought, you know, and they'll say, this album is skipping, or it's something's messed up with, and we'll take it and put it on the turntable right there in the store, and it plays through perfectly fine. And one of the first questions we'll ask is, do you maybe have one of those suitcase type of turntables? And oftentimes they'll say yes. And what that really does is it just gives us a chance to start walking them through. This is kind of the difference between, you know, a slight upgrade. This is what a counterweight, you know, stylus, pressure, blah, blah, blah. And you have a chance to open up that conversation where 90% of the time people have no idea that this is an inferior turntable. It is a turntable. That's all they know. So it's like look for opportunities to talk to people instead of being a freaking basher. It makes no sense.
Yeah. It doesn't do anybody good to be negative, right? Obviously, it could totally go off on a whole other live stream about this. But John, I have a hard time thinking that you're doing one of these cool guy moves where you're tapping them, but hey, listen, to each their own. I get it. Evasive maneuvers, I think that called. Hey, Jason here, my man from Canada, has got one for you, Brandon. What YouTube channel has come and gone since you've been around that you wish could or would come back?
Oh my gosh. The two that come to mind would be Biosite.
Yeah. Love that guy.
You remember him? Yeah. He was kind of just one of the mainstays in the VC for a while and just stopped posting. And there's also a guy named Greg in Canada. And he was like literally one of the absolute first. Like there was about 4 of us that had initially just started talking anything about vinyl in a group, and he was one of the very first ones. And he was on for maybe 3 years, 4 years, and kind of left. But a young guy with just knowledge that was out of this world. It was absolutely amazing. But he was right there at the very, very beginning.
Hey Jason, we got somebody's trying to get on your corner here. I think this is Scott, and please tell me if I get your name wrong. I think it's a Scott, DJ Vinyl Vertigo. I will be overseas during the next RSD. I may have to ask someone to shop for me. This sounds like OBC USA.
Wow.
Business opportunity, Jason. Do you want to be the flagship for the original Buyers Club RSD consulate?
No. Final Vertigo, make some friends. That's what I did. So my friends in New York, they'll be doing the hunting and waiting in the lines for me, you know. So I'm blessed.
Nice.
There you go.
This is interesting you said this. So Jazz Bum's Mike, the tone poet, picture of health, skips on tables that have their stylist misaligned. That was one thing that I saw that obviously I'd like the original because I'm an original hunter, right? So the original Chet, the Playboy, you know, stuff on there. But I had heard that this one came out and had this issue. And Brandon, to your point, I heard a lot of people were taking this back to their local shops when really it was a hot cut, I believe, was really the root of the issue, and is because people didn't have their equipment maintained. So
it's just like an RL Led Zeppelin 2.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of not maintaining my setup. So that's
What do you mean?
I'm gonna raise my hand and say, although I don't own a Crosley, I've had I don't like my counterweight. Like I'm pretty sure I adjusted it correctly, but every
This is for Jazz Bum's Mike. My copy doesn't skip, bro. So,
shit.
Wait, this is the OG. Yeah, I know. Jazz
I tell you what,
blow it up.
heel turn Jason Rojas is maybe my favorite Jason Rojas. The flexing, and man, this is amazing. I've never seen this side of it. It's awesome. Oh man, no, that's the one I'm looking for, though. I mean, and Jason, I'm sure
you're looking for this one.
I am. Don't hang on. I'm like the tears are welling up in my eye. Wait,
no, pictures of Heath, the reissue. Could just get the reissue.
Nah, that's not how I roll, man. I'm OG till I die. But when and where did you pick that up? And I'm sure it wasn't for the going rate right now.
I got it because it had this tape all over it. I got it for cheap, but then like it took me a while to get the tape off, and then I was like watching, like, you know, will Gugan get this like off? You know, because it's an older tape. This record's from what?
Was like masking tape? Was like old school masking tape? Yeah,
really nasty tape. Like, and it had the goo stuck on it. And then I was like, oh man, if I put adhesive remover on this and it ruins this, you know, the cover, I'm doomed, you know. But luckily it took it off. So
nice.
This was a deal. You know?
Eddie, Jason, you can call Jason all you want, but he's got the OG, baby.
Eddie, don't you know, haters gotta hate.
That's right. Hey man, just pop over another haterade. Somebody's got to drink it. No. That's amazing. Oh, good stuff. That's actually a good segue. Something that just came to mind when you're talking about that, Jason. Do you still find records that you got to give a little bit of love to? It could be a record with the older record where the seam has come off and you've got to do like one of those repair jobs, or like you're talking about, Jason, like finding a way to get the tape off and, you know, heating the stickers or that kind of thing. Do you guys still finding records like that you want to bring back to full life?
You make it sound like, you know, one of those relationships where you're trying to fix somebody. You know.
Get the paddles out, baby.
I'm trying to change that person. No.
Well, there are some people like, think about like American Pickers, like Mike Wolf.
Yes.
He doesn't want to fix anything. He likes the patina. He likes the story.
Yeah.
I can't go all that way. I like the story, but I want to restore it to its glory, right? You know what I mean? I want it to be in its best possible condition for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Go ahead, Jason.
No. Go ahead.
Fine. No. I find that less and less, simply because like those records that you do find that need that love, the person selling them or having them is very much like, I know what I have, and like saw the price for a mint copy on eBay, so he's like, so it's not worth the effort to put in that fixed or pay that, you know, maybe a little over that price. But yeah.
What about you, Jason? What are you gonna say?
I think if you can get a good deal on something and then you take the time to, you know, try to fix it, then it's totally worth it, you know. I don't think the covers are great, you know, but it shouldn't detract detract you from the music, right? It's the vinyl.
You can't play the
music.
covers. I know Billy
Yeah,
Hurst says
you
it all
know.
the time. You can't
But
play
I
the
mean,
covers.
yes, I mean, it's great to look at this and be like, man, can you believe this? You know, Hugh Hefner was like, dudes, if you do not
Shut that shit down, like
Yes.
Negan. That's right. Yep.
I'm gonna like make your days worse, you know. And they're like, okay. I guess we'll pull up pictures of Heath now. Like, oh, not as cool.
No, it's not as cool. I know. Jazzbum Mike says it sounds good, and I'm sure it sounds delightful.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
the story, right? Not that I'm
Yes.
a world-class perv, but it's like the idea that they were trying to slip one in before like licensing and like rights holders and all that stuff. And that's what excites me about a title like that. I'm sure that sounds great. I'm sure the reissue sounds great, but now I'm chasing the story, if that makes sense, because that's what appeals to me. And that's the kind of stuff I like to curate into my collection, is a collection of sounds, but a collection of stories too.
That's cool.
See, I actually play both sides of that fence because, again, Chance, like you know me, that I'm extremely picky about. I mean, ring wear can throw me off of like I'll just have to wait because I want everything immaculate.
Sure.
But like Jason was saying, it is about the music.
Yes.
So what I actually did was I made a section in my collection called Finders Keepers. There's a tag or a divider says Finders Keepers. I have about maybe 15 or 20 albums there that are things that are not in good enough condition to officially be in my collection. So that way I have them there to listen to if I want to listen to them, but they're not in my database. They're not officially part of my collection. But when I do find that absolute excellent to near mint copy, it'll go in and the Finder Keepers will get sold.
Nice.
There you go.
It's a good idea.
Josh D, you can't play the covers, but you look at them way more than you listen to the record. I need mint covers. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I saw at the record show this weekend, I forget the record off the top of my head, but it looked like it had been chewed up. It was like a hard to find record, but literally the bottom looked like a cat and a dog and an armadillo had all taken turns on the bottom of this cover. And I just couldn't do it because, like, the odds of me finding that cover to Frankenstein, I don't know if you guys still Frankenstein. I used to do that all the time ago. But the odds of finding that cover, probably not going to happen. So I just let somebody else who isn't as particular about it as I am kind of grab that one.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of a thing of, I guess, picking and choosing your battles, because personally myself, like, I think it just varies on the record that you're seeking out. Like, for example, are any of you guys familiar with the Third Man Records vault?
Yes. Yeah, the subscription service, right?
Yes. So, and with those releases, they press them up one time and that's it. And the values often fluctuate. I was in contact with a guy that had the White Stripes live in Mississippi. And that release is notorious because it is their last show ever.
Oh. Okay.
And it goes for some money. And the guy was like, yeah, there's like a 2-inch seam split across the top. And for me, I'm like, perfect. This just degrades the value of what I'm going to be having to pay. I'm like, please. Yes, that's totally fine. That's fine. So sure enough, we wheeled and dealed and got a good price on it. So
nice.
Yeah, it's things like that. Like if it's valuable and like you guys were saying, it's the records that you're going to play. Sure, you look at the covers, but look, nothing ruffles my feathers too much.
Now, John, this is an interesting point. He says, I justify expensive records by framing the cool cover, kind of a two enjoyment thing in one, art and music. Makes the price more easier to not cry over. I think that's fair. I know they have those frames, and some people really will get it professionally framed, particularly on the artwork. And I know, like the one that I always see everywhere is that Bob Dylan Greatest Hits, the poster. I know if Mazzy's still on here, he knows the artist, right? But actually, Noble Records had it. I saw it at their shop, right? But that's the one I always see from a record to art kind of situation like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Jazz Bums Mike, that's very true. I mean, we're dealing with a record that's 60, 70 years old, and jazz records, blues records, R&B records, those were meant to be played. Like nobody was like, I'll play it once and then put it on my shelf. Never did.
I'll put it back in the polyline sleeve and no.
Right? No,
exactly
they were
right.
like listening to that and be like, man, did you hear the cornet solo on this thing? Like, no. Like, oops, I scratched the record. Don't worry, we'll get another one tomorrow. Turn it up,
Yeah.
Josh, I don't know if you're kidding or telling the truth here, but I think when you say I just buy records to take a picture for Instagram and then return them, I don't think anybody on this panel does that, but I guarantee there's people on YouTube who do that. Just saying.
Kidding me?
I witnessed that at my shop. Like college kids will come in and like they'll be like taking selfies. I kind of want to just butt in like just like peep in the background, but like they'll literally like have a photo of them browsing, and then I see them scurry after 2 minutes. It's like, really?
Dude, it's so
That
funny.
was great.
Come on, I want to photobomb that
great.
shit.
That was
That
great. Take pictures on Instagram, return them.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I would probably, when I hear a story like that, Dylan, I think of like circling back to High Fidelity, like Rob Gordon. A very flawed character. But what would Rob Gordon do, or even the Jack Black character, seeing this generation doing it? I mean, literally, there would probably be a murder that would be on the 10 o'clock news, because that one of those guys would just annihilate this new generation for them.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. When I started working at the record store, this is going back almost 2 years ago, I went back and watched that movie, and I'm like, yeah, there's some parallels. I had one guy that was a Jack Black character. Like, I would say, oh yeah, this is my favorite King Crimson record, and he would just look at me and go, fucking sucks. I'm just like, I didn't ask for this.
Did any of you guys try to get into they did that remake adaptation, the Zoe Kravitz vehicle on Hulu?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I gave it a shot. Did you guys check that out at all?
I've watched it twice all the way through. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I think that one kind of got a premature hook, especially in this age of they need content factories. We need the content. Like I heard, not to go off on a diatribe, but they just remade Night Court, that sitcom from the 80s, and it is brutal. Jason Blavey's probably heard me say it. Brutal, right? But it just got renewed for season 2 because it's getting viewers and it's getting chatter online. But the writing is terrible. It's got Melissa Rauch from Big Bang Theory in the lead. It needs a lot of work. And this isn't the days back in the 80s, kind of like a new band, a new band. Maybe they didn't have it on that first album, but they needed a little seasoning. Same thing with sitcoms, right? But then you have something like the High Fidelity show with Zoe that they canceled after 1 year. I didn't understand it. I thought it had promise. I actually like the idea of gender swapping, making Rob, or I think it was Robin, but yeah, Rob, head scratcher.
Good show.
When it first kicked off, I mean, one thing I didn't like that I grew to like in the show was that they were doing a lot of direct quotes and everything from the original High Fidelity, and that at first it was kind of like she can't deliver that line right because that's Rob's line, or But then later on, it kind of became, okay, they're actually keeping a very strong connection to the original, just kind of what High Fidelity means to everyone who enjoyed it so much so many years ago. Yep. And overall, I ended up liking it. Some places she just wasn't quite believable, but that's kind of, I think, part of the anal collector parts of us, because we know what it looks like when you actually touch a record, or when you actually look at a record, or even like in the very first one, remember with the guy that wanted to buy the Beef Heart Safest Milk, and he said, I give you 40. You ever notice when Rob hands it to him, he holds it by the corner the entire time, and the record is just bending, and I'm just that tune gets on my nerves every time I see it. Like inch right on the corner, and he's talking. You guys are snobs. You think you know? That's like, pick up the freaking record.
Well, cheap plug, and I don't know if we were filming at this point, but our friends Vinyl Reckoning were just on a really fun podcast talking about High Fidelity. I'll bring it up because Dylan just brought it up. Nice. The Center Cut, did I get the name right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, tell us about your experience on there, and tell us about your friend's show.
All right. So the Center Cut is a wonderful podcast.
Well, hang on. Not to be confused with Vinyl Community Podcasts, another podcast stream you should definitely check out, but also a very good podcast. Please continue. Sorry.
Oh, yes. Where these two dudes watch the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of a movie
that they've never seen.
And then they have guests come on and quiz them about the middle part of the movie. And Mike, who is one of the wonderful creators of that podcast, asked us to do it because they did High Fidelity. And
It was so much fun.
It was the most fun I've had doing a podcast, because our YouTube channel, before I met Stacy, started as a podcast, and it was fun to get back to the roots of what this was. But yeah, the center cut, go check it out. It's a fun podcast.
It was really fun to do.
Yep.
That with that movie.
Nice.
Hopefully this is it. This is it, right? I just did the quick,
Is it?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And also, Stacy
fidelity.
really loves Michael Bolton.
Stop.
You'll
I'm with you.
understand if you're listening.
I love Bolton. I'm with you.
Oh, you'll love the little it'll be your favorite part of the episode.
Yeah.
Grant, we got to be careful, because the last live stream I did, and I think Matt is still here, we went deep on Barry Manilow, if you can believe it. So I got to caution Michael Bolton. Let's just keep the train on the tracks, because we don't want to get into the Pepsi commercials and the long hair and the Office Space reference. Well, I think there are some people. I'm trying. We got about 6 more minutes. I'm going to try to close this, but yes, I'm just saying, Barry Manilow. It was a topic I was not prepared for. I'm just being honest. Just like I am definitely not prepared for Michael Bolton. So I'm just saying.
That's not even.
I'm sorry,
his real
man,
name.
but
It's
"Said I
Michael
Love You, But I
Bolton.
Lied" is one of the greatest love songs of all time.
Hang on, Jason. What did you say? Did you just drop a spoiler?
That's not even his real name. His real name is Michael Bolton, and like he removed that extra consonant or vowel. You didn't know that. He
Jason
played
is
in
fun
a,
at parties, is what I've heard.
yeah, well, he played in a metal band with Bruce Kulick. You didn't know this?
Yeah.
Blackjack.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You don't know this. And
I
then
didn't
he,
know this.
Yep.
he changed direction because that was
Hang
an
on.
unsuccessful band.
Hang on.
Mhm.
So the 3 dudes nodding. I'm putting you at the top because I had no clue. So you guys, president, chairman,
Right
and
there.
treasurer of the Michael Bolton fan club, right on top.
Bolton.
And I'm just
Bolton.
over here
Give me the
crying.
high five, Jason. I need the high five.
Listen,
There it is.
listen. My connection with the guy is just the Kiss connections. That's it.
So what's the Kiss connection? Again, I'm a new. I don't know this.
Well, because Jason had mentioned that he was in a band called Blackjack with Bruce Kulick, and just to also just tie it in even further, Bruce Kulick's brother Bob Kulick had also, I believe, done some work with Meatloaf, and then Michael Bolton actually co-wrote some tracks on Kiss's "Hot in the Shade" album in
Stacey,
1989.
I see you nodding. Look at this.
So that
Right
sounds
now.
roughly right.
This is the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced. Oh my god!
It's just trivia. Don't know too much of his music, but I know some stories.
That's great.
That's all that matters at this point. Like, holy shit!
So we were talking about flexes earlier. I think this is a great way to wind this one down, because this is probably the biggest flex I've probably seen on a live stream. This Michael Bolton triumvirate of. I mean, this is. I just don't. I don't even know what to say. I would say I'm not worthy.
saying
I
you
was
should
not
go
worthy.
buy those Michael Bolton, records, unless there's an RSD 2024 Michael Bolton. You wanna
Uh-oh.
flip-
Correct, David.
David, Vinyl Dig, straight out of Wyoming, coming with the heat, the Michael Bolton heat. He co-wrote "Kisses Forever." Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
I guess now that I hear that, I'm not surprised,
I was
because I'm
gonna
hearing
say.
that chorus
Yeah.
in the back of my
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Well, when we're all back on our feet again, we will.
Stop.
Come on. Come on.
So
That was
that'll
More
be
than
the
just one,
logic,
too.
right? If you like Kiss, then maybe Michael Bolton, maybe. Maybe.
I-
Or if you like Michael Bolton, maybe we'll like Kiss. So
Yes,
I
right.
can't. You
Full
know.
circle.
right.
Control.
You just wait for the Michael Bolton covers Kiss album. You just wait.
It.
I'd buy it.
The thing is, he could probably pull it off.
Yes, he could
I
pull it
bet he
off,
could
and it
pull
would
it off.
sell, and it would be another career. Maybe he could take over, right? You see where this is going?
Yeah.
Oh no! Hang on. This is how I'm going to close this show. Are you guys familiar with these personalized greeting cards? They're like cameos, but you can do them for greeting cards. Have you heard this?
No.
Okay, so
Kind of familiar.
all right, so it's oh my gosh. Okay, I'm pulling this up, and I apologize. I'm slow about this. So right now, here I'm going to show you, because we're going to do this together, gang, and then we're going to wind this one down. So let's go to present. I mean, you're not going to believe this, but this is the what a time to be alive. All right, so if you can see here, there are certain celebrities that you can buy a subscription for, or you can start a free trial. and they will do a personalized greeting card for you or your friends or whatever. So let's just have fun with this. Michael Bolton is queued up because, I mean, Dolly is a lot of fun. Donny Osmond's a lot of fun. But the man of the hour, and Stacey, if you start crying, let me know, because I don't want this to be a triggering a situation for you. But let's just pick, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Angel. Let's just, that's such a wonderful name. And this one is so specific. If you go to some of the other ones, it's just like your name. Dolly is just saying your name. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. Michael Bolton goes deep. He wants to know your date of birth. So let's just go. Let's go let's do the Ides of March. Let's go the 14th of March. Maybe he'll say something about the Ides of March. And then here's you are a sexy stud. All right, you guys ready for this? Because here's the best part.
Yes.
What was the name you picked?
I picked Angel.
No. Can we choose something better?
Jason, you tell. What do you want it to be? Jason? I could definitely pick Jason in here.
Jason sounds
No,
great.
I vote Jason.
I vote Jason.
All right, well, we're a democracy here on this live stream, so we're gonna find
It's his idea to change it.
Look at all of these names. Now, Chance is not in here. That's what I always go to, because my dad we'd stop at those roadside places where they had the keychains with the names. And there was never Chance. But anyway, so let's see. Jake, I gotta keep going.
Mine was never spelled right.
All right. Holy smokes. We're doing this. We're doing this, folks. You ready? Buckle up.
This is the best day of my life.
Oh.
You.
All right. Hopefully the audio comes in. If the audio doesn't come in here, I got to do cookies. I'm trying to get this perfect. All right, here we go.
Okay.
What day is today? Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. This is the very best day of the year. Jason, it's been well worth the wait. It's the 14th day of March. You are sexy stuff today, and now it's your time to celebrate. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. This is the very best day of the year. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. The most amazing day of the year.
Today is your birthday.
Today is your birthday. It's amazing. Unbelievable. This is the very best day. Time to celebrate. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. It's the greatest day.
Blow it, Michael. Blow it.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Oh
Wow, that
my
was,
gosh.
Is there anything else left to say, gang?
Thank you.
Wow.
Well, thank you to the panel. Thank you guys for making the time. Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Guest nominee Jason Rojas. The heel turned out. One more time. Flex them if you got them. Dylan, the record spinner. Appreciate you, man. First time. Good to have you on here. My good friends, Vinyl Reckoning, Matt and Stacy. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys did too. Hopefully our folks. Eddie is unsubbing. This is controversial news. Hopefully it's not to my account. I need all the help I can get. All right. Thanks, gang. Good to talk to you. I'll see you soon.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye, folks.